Thank you, thank you, thank you. A million thank you for all the people that are commenting now that I've returned to the Angry Canadian on YouTube. And it was completely my fault. I didn't have passwords written down. You need two-thing of verification, and I only had one, Google. So whenever they sent a code for me to get into my channel, shit, I can't get into Google, so it did absolutely no good. And I was frustrated beyond belief for a better part of a year before I started a new channel to upload. But thank you. Thank you. Thank you to everyone for returning to the Angry Canadian. Without further ado, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen across our beautiful country of Canada, our friends around the world in the known and unknown universe, coming to you from a snowy Okanagan, British Columbia. It is your favorite Angry Canadian. So without further ado, let's get talking about what is going on. Man, I can't believe the crap that's happening, and still there are so many people afraid of the government, so many people that close their eyes to what is happening, and so many people not thinking about what our future is gonna look like.
Full entities in the world, after thousands of years, during which humans were the rulers of the world, authority and power will shift away from humans to computers, and most humans will become economically useless and politically powerless. Already today, we are beginning to see the creation of a new class of humans, the useless class. Just as the Industrial Revolution in the 19th century created the new working class, the proletariat, so now the artificial intelligence revolution is beginning to create the useless class.
I can't tell if he's for or against the useless class.
Which side does he think he's on? Artificial integrity.
But this is the kind of shit that this guy's, he's not only predicting, he's trying to help happen, right? It's like, he's not just reporting it, he's like trying to set up systems that make this happen. Transhumanism, shit like that, which is what a lot of people are saying. That's why they want us to have no gender, and because they want us to start to be okay with being half robot and half human. That's the shit they're saying. I'm not making up that they're saying it. They're actually saying this stuff, and they're at the tippy top of society, and Davos and the WEF, and they're saying this stuff into cameras, and they don't think anything's wrong with it. Just like you just said, they just keep going.
Well, we like war. We like war. We're a warlike people. We like war because we're good at it. And you know why we're good at it? Because we get a lot of practice. This country's only 200 years old, and already we've had 10 major wars. We average a major war every 20 years in this country, so we're good at it. And it's a good thing we are. We're not very good at anything else anymore. Huh? Can't build a decent car, can't make a TV set or a VCR worth a fuck. Got no steel industry left, can't educate our young people, can't get health care to our old people, but we can bomb the shit out of your country, all right? Huh? We can bomb the shit out of your country, all right? Especially if your country is full of brown people. Oh, we like that, don't we? That's our hobby. That's our new job in the world, bombing brown people. Iraq, Panama, Grenada, Libya, you got some brown people in your country, tell them to watch the fuck out, or we'll goddamn bomb them.
If we don't send these elite a-holes packing, the future of humanity is going to be really in doubt. And not because of the 8 billion, oh, you're eating too much, oh, there's too much of this, too much of... Piss off. It's because there's a few gazillionaires who are battling for control of the world. Ooh, I can imagine Bill Gates or Elon Musk or any one of a bunch of people, even Vlad. You know that Vlad is now giving an interview to Tucker Carlson in Russia? Oh my God, that should light a fire under the ass of Western leaders and media. But we are in a crisis situation, and especially Canada. Man, because we have a global crisis happening right here at home. It is from Alberta, and it has nothing to do with the energy, oil or gas, pipelines, none of that stuff. It has to do with
Canadian parents love their kids, and we want the very best for them, and we want them to be kept safe. LGBT youth across this country are among the most vulnerable to homelessness, to suicide, to a range of things that can harm them. We need to be there to defend them. We need to be there to protect them. And I know Canadians across the country are doing just that. It is telling that the week after welcoming far-right American conservative Tucker Carlson to her province to sit with him on stage, Danielle Smith has now moved forward with the most anti-LGBT policies of anywhere in the country. Canadians need to know that the federal government and all Canadians will be there to protect youth. As a federal government, we will always be there to protect the most vulnerable, particularly vulnerable LGBT youth who need to know that there are people across the country there to fight for them. If Premier Smith wants to fight someone, stand with us and fight for Canadians on lower grocery prices, on affordable fuel, on more housing, on fighting climate change. Fight with us to defend the rights of vulnerable Canadians. Don't fight against vulnerable LGBT youth.
He's an absolutely useless piece of shit dividing Canada. At least that's my opinion. on top of that, he's going between parents and kids and schools. Imagine that. You know, what the hell has happened to Canada and Canadians that they cannot see this? Would you want a 15-year-old to decide a life-altering thing that they can't undo? You know, they're going to chop off your weenie, or they're going to chop off your breast. All these things are not reversible. Or take puberty blockers. You can't just give it to them partly. I'm sorry, what a fuck up has happened in Canada with these assholes. If you were to do a poll or a referendum across Canada, I guarantee the majority of Canadians would support Daniel Smith's position.
Some of those proposals include banning hormone therapy for children 15 and under and opting in to formal instruction on gender identity, sexual orientation, or human sexuality in schools. It also covers parental consent for a name or pronoun change in school for kids under 15. Sean Skulski joins us now from the legislature. And Shay, today was the first time the Premier took questions on this issue. How is she defending these policies?
Well, Jeff, nearly 24 hours after taking to social media outlining a package of policies never before seen in our country, the Premier was before reporters today, insisting her policies preserve kids' decisions.
These policies are being implemented in order to protect the choices you have regarding altering your physical body.
That was Danielle Smith's message for trans children who she believes are protected under a new package of policies that will ensure parents of kids 17 and under are notified if their child wishes to change their name or pronouns at school. For kids under 15, parental approval is required for any name or pronoun changes. The policies also ban gender-affirming surgery for kids 17 and under and restrict kids 15 and under from puberty blockers and hormone therapy.
I am confident that Albertans do not want children to make irreversible decisions that impact their reproductive health.
I'm deeply disturbed.
The suite of policies are sparking concerns from all levels of government and raising questions about the possibility of Ottawa withholding federal health transfers from the province.
Extremely dangerous to engage in this kind of thing, which is, I think, playing politics when you're talking about children's lives.
The most anti-LGBT policies of anywhere in the country.
On Parliament Hill, Liberal and NDP politicians call it demonizing and extremely dangerous. But the Premier of Alberta has a different view about her controversial plan.
I certainly do not want children to be making decisions before maybe they've even had sex.
Encouraging or enabling children to alter their very biology or natural growth, no matter how well-intentioned and sincere, poses a risk to that child's future that I, as Premier, am not comfortable with permitting in our province.
Premier, thanks so much for being here. And I want to go back to that social media post that you had last week as you unveiled the package. And you had a phrase along the lines of, as Premier, I'm not comfortable with essentially the status quo. Now, you're not a parent, but you're the Premier for all Alberta parents. You're the Premier for all Alberta kids. And yet here you are as a Premier making a decision on this important issue. With all respect, what gives you the right? With all respect, what gives you the right? With all respect, what gives you the right?
Oh yeah, angry, angry, angry. Man, I'm fighting off every urge to call that person on TV. He sure the hell isn't a journalist or reporter. He's a liberal hack. What? You know, I just feel like calling him every F-bomb name that's in my head. And man, I tell you, I used to work in construction, and I know a lot of F-bombs. But nobody has asked, why did the kids under 15 get rights that have been denied to their parents? No, their parents can't know about this stuff. No, they don't have to know. The kids can make up their mind. You know, they are 15 years old after all. What a load of crap. And again, 100% with Daniel Smith. And it's not anti QLBT, whatever the hell, or trans. It's they are kids. You know, that bullshit person there on news, would he allow his 15-year-old kids, if he had some, to do whatever the hell they want? Because that sure the hell isn't parenting in my book.
Well, I would say that what we're seeing is an evolving discussion in the public realm, not only in Canada, but internationally. And you're seeing different standards of medical practice being proposed. And we felt like it was important for us to make sure that we had guidelines that were understandable and acceptable. We believe the starting point should be that kids should not be making irreversible decisions. And so the framework for what we put forward gives kids who want to transition a clear guidepost of when they'll be able to start hormone replacement, when they'll be able to have top and bottom surgery, so that they can plan and be able to get the support they need to do that.
Now, the surgery is one aspect of this package, but there's also some new rules about when kids can and how they can't use their own names, etc. You know, there's more serious things, etc. This is a group of kids, minors, that are most at risk of self-harm, most at risk of being homeless, most at risk of suicide. How do you reconcile the fact that your package here is going to increase the risk of harm to this group?
Well, when a child embarks on a path of transitioning in gender, then it begins with pronouns, moves on to hormone blockers or cross-sex hormones, and then moves ultimately onto a decision about whether to have top and bottom surgery. It's a continuum. And I believe that parents and families need to be there every step of the way, supporting a child through that process. It's going to be a lifelong decision with lifelong impact to them. And I think the best thing for their mental health is to make sure that they know that the adults in their life are with them. So that's part of the reason why, if that kind of decision gets made at a very young age, families need to be looped in so that they can provide the support.
But these are kids in their schools that are bullied, they're targets on their back already, and this sort of, all these prohibitions are likely to increase perhaps depression among this group, that they can't proceed with what they would like to do, they can't use their own names. And again, that puts them at greater risk of harm.
This person is giving me a friggin' brain freeze. Prohibition? What prohibition? They can get whatever they want done, the kids, when they're adults. But you don't start out, in the States, they got parents who have allowed their kids to transition at age 4, 5, and 6. Give me a break. Somebody, an adult who has, these people in media are working against you, has a target on his back, the kids, or else prohibition, like back in the 30s about alcohol or tobacco or whatever prohibitions were about. That's what's happening. Why the hell don't they talk about First Nations? Because you want to see a lot of suicide, substance abuse, and all that stuff? Check out the First Nations. They keep talking about it, the First Nations, they do, but the media don't give a shit about them. Maybe they should all turn trans. But, gosh, is this how Canada is gonna go under with these kinds of pieces of shit on air? I cannot wait until fake, corrupt media is gone out of people's lives, but that's going to be a tough thing to do because they got money, they got government support, they have the media platform, TV, and there's still a hell of a lot of people watching TV, at least the older crowd. But young people, they're moving away from that. Okay, let's move on to CBC and how their CEO is explaining why, even though the executives have a job to do, if they're successful, they will get a bonus. Well, shit, do you work like that? Do you go to work every day, and if you're doing your job, they're going to give you a bonus? Performance bonus? No! You got a job, you got a salary, you work on it, or you got a wage, you work for that. But The special people who support the Trudeau government, the Liberals, well, they get a little bit of bonuses thrown in, like bones to a dog.
So to the question of performance pay, as I have said in my remarks, the performance pay is a critical part of total compensation.
My question was just whether or not you would be giving it. Will you be giving bonuses to executives? So as the CEO, you do not make the decision. You have no say in whether or not bonuses are granted.
All of the management team measures and analyzes our results on an annual basis, which are published very clearly in our
CEO,
in the
you
quarterly
have no
reports.
say in whether or not bonuses are given.
All of the management team presents to the board of directors the results of our year against KPIs, key performance indicators that have been tracked throughout the year, and based on the analysis and the results, the board of directors makes its decision. I should just point out, perhaps of interest, for example, last year, we did not meet 2 of our KPIs, and our bonus level
I'll go to my
was
next
reduced.
question now. I realize that you'll do your best to talk out the clock, so I'll just kind of keep us going along here. My next question is this. Those KPIs, would you table those with this committee?
They're public in our annual report.
Perfect. Thank you. Based on the metrics that are used then, last year, you gave out $16 million in taxpayer-funded bonuses to the staff. That was an average of $14,000 to staff members at the CBC. Most Canadians don't even see half of that in a bonus, not even a quarter of that in a yearly bonus. $14,000 was the average amount that was given to CBC staff. What were the metrics that were used in order to determine that bonus amount?
So again, the KPIs are published, and they're very clearly have to do with performance of the service, for example, digital reach, for example, engagement with news in the regions, for example, performance on engagement with kids and children. All of those are published very clearly in our annual report. And I actually want to, if I may I ask, I think your number is wrong if I want to correct the record.
I would just highlight for you that it's interesting to me because you're saying that these are the metrics, but actually the viewership of the CBC is cut in half since you took leadership in 2018. It's come down by half. So it's interesting to me that you're giving bonuses or performance awards when in fact the CBC is performing the poorest it's ever performed. So bonuses keep going up, they keep skyrocketing, but performance, as you say the bonuses are granted based on,
I really, if I may, Madam Chair, I'd like to correct the record. If I may correct the record.
Ms. Tate, my question for you, for 2023, will you be given a bonus?
I would like to correct the record, if I may, Madam Chair. First of all, I don't believe the number was 16 million in last year. I'm going to ask Marco Dubé, who manages the people in culture at our company, to correct the error that the member has stated.
I am 100% in favor of the CBC getting shut down. This biatch shouldn't even get severance pay when her ass is booted out the door. And same with a lot of their on-air personalities, you know, those people that stand in front of the camera and lie to you, and lie to you, and lie to you, because if they lie to you enough, you're going to believe it. And there is still people out there watching who do buy the bullshit. Now I say, yeah, close the CBC down and allow RT back into Canada. We got freedom of press.
Number one, the CBC has handed out 16 million smackers in taxpayer-funded bonuses in 2022 and $99 million in bonuses since 2015. Number two, Tate gave every indication that executives at the CBC will again be taking a bonus, including herself. And the third takeaway is that Liberal, NDP, and Bloc MPs voted against a motion to force the CBC to say how much in bonuses they paid in 2023. Okay, let's do a little deep dive into the full committee appearance. Now, Tate started her testimony by trying to string together a word salad claiming that the CBC isn't handing out bonuses. She says that they're handing out at-risk or performance pay. That's what Tate said. Yeah, those are just other words for bonuses. But the craziest part about that beginning of the testimony is that the CBC itself acknowledges that they're handing out bonuses. In fact, the CBC gave the Canadian Taxpayers Federation access to information records. I'm holding them here in my hand, and they use the word bonus themselves. Zoom in for a second, folks. Here we are. What's that word right there? Bonus. Bonuses at the CBC. So let's see, according to their own records, how much in bonuses they're handing out. Let me just rattle off a couple numbers for you here, folks. In 2022, the CBC handed out more than $16 million in bonuses, okay? In 2021, $15 million in bonuses. In 2020, $15 million in bonuses. Again, what was happening in 2020 and 2021? The taxpayers funding their salaries? That's another story for another day. Okay, folks, 2019. $14 million in bonuses. 2018, $13 million. 2017, $8 million. 2016, $8 million. 2015, $8 million in bonuses. You get the moral of the story here, folks. Since 2015, the CBC has handed out $99 million in taxpayer-funded bonuses.
And if that's not enough to get you hot and bothered, then get a load of this next bit. We're going to pay more for gas, carbon tax, but...
Whoa, it's getting cold here in Ottawa, so members of Parliament are getting ready to shove their hands deeper into your pocket. On April 1, MPs are going to give themselves another raise, and the Canadian Taxpayers Federation crunched the numbers, and the raise will range between an extra $8,100 for a backbench member of Parliament, all the way up to an extra $16,200 for Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. So after the April 1 pay raise, a backbencher, along with collecting dust, will collect a salary of about $202,000. A minister will take home just shy of $300,000, and the Prime Minister, well, Mr. Trudeau's annual salary will be about $405,000 smackers. Now, folks, that's only the beginning of it, because they're giving themselves a pay raise every single year. In fact, since the beginning of 2020, they've given themselves 5 pay raises. So, pandemic happens, Canadian struggles, so many people in the private sector lost their job, took pay cuts, maybe even lost their small business. That didn't matter, didn't stop the pay raises they gave themselves. Today, so many families struggling with the price of hamburger meat, struggling with the rising mortgage payments, they don't seem to care. They're about to give themselves another pay raise. And one more issue here, folks. On the very same day that they stuff their wallets with bigger pay, they're reaching deeper into your wallets with a carbon tax and alcohol tax hike. Well, folks, the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, we're going to fight this pay raise tooth and nail, and you can join the fight as well by going to taxpayer.com and signing the petition to stop the MP pay raise.